Hi, everybody. Welcome back to HSP TV. I am your host, Barbara, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Jennie Sikes. And our topic for today is going to be the empath's path from survival mode to spiritual alignment. And this is going to be Jennie's personal story. So I'm not going to talk too much, and I'm just going to welcome you here, Jennie, in the show today. And I'm feeling very grateful that you are here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love this. I'm excited to have this session, this podcast session with you. This
Me
is
too.
great.
These are always such wonderful conversations. And I started this podcast because when I was going through everything, and maybe your story is similar, there wasn't a lot out there. And I
Hmm.
felt like, oh my God, I'm alone. This is only happening to me and nobody understands and I didn't understand. And so you feel very isolated
Hmm.
in your story. And then it turns out that it's not just you. There are many more people who are going through something very similar. And
Hmm.
by sharing our stories, other people who are feeling very cut off from the world and like they're the only one in such shit. No, no, you're not alone. You're not going crazy. You're not losing your mind. This is
Yes.
happening to many, many more people. And then they can find maybe some inspiration, some tips, some guidance, but at least the feeling of, oh God, there are more people like me going
Hmm.
through something like this. Yes.
Isn't it amazing how much we have evolved as a collective, as a society, even just over the last 10 years? But if you go back to our childhood, right? And there's no placing blame on parents or grandparents because all they
No.
knew is what they knew.
Yes.
But the ability to now communicate and to
Hmm.
say, hey, you're not alone. For instance, I did a vendor show this weekend. It was a holistic vendor event, and I did some tarot readings with numerology and astrology. And I had a gentleman sign up, and typically my demographic, it's typically middle-aged women and older, which is amazing because, like attracts like. So
Yeah.
and this one individual came up to me and I knew he was going to be unique. And he's probably about 65 years old and he's just now having a spiritual awakening. And we're
Hmm.
doing this reading and he's being very cautious with what he says. He wants to really just be open-minded, but allow the flow of the reading to come to fruition. And I had asked him a question and it just kind of hit the nail on the head. And he was starting to get a little teary-eyed and he was still holding back on some of the information. And I asked him, are you going through a spiritual awakening right now? Have you heard of what that is?" And he just let it all out. It was amazing to speak with a man at 65 years old ish, I don't know his
Yeah.
exact age, going through this, but now being confident enough to communicate with others. Whereas if you
Yeah.
went back again 10, 20, 30, 40 years, what's a spiritual awakening? And suck it up, buttercup. And men
Yeah.
don't cry. I'll give you
Mhm.
something to cry about. That whole
Yeah.
concept. So we've evolved so, so much. And I'm so grateful to be a part of the collective that is comfortable in communicating the masculine
Yeah.
and the feminine and the awakenings.
I recognize what you're saying. I am fortunate, or I find myself fortunate to also have lots of males that come to me. Because as females, it's already difficult to be an empath, to have all of these emotions. But when we cry, then it's, oh, it's probably that time of the month. We're also
Yes.
not very happy with that, but it's sort of accepted that females
Hmm.
cry and that
Hmm.
females are emotional and that we have periods and such that sort of make it worse. That's collectively sort of accepted. But when a man cries,
Hmm.
when a man shows emotion, oh my God, what are you doing?
Right. Right. And look at all the generations before us because that's exactly the conditioning they had and they knew
Yeah,
no better. They knew no better. So again, we
no,
can't blame them, but to be a part of that process where it's okay to, as a man, embrace your nurturing feminine side and compassion. Also, as a female, embracing our masculine, logical, analytical, grounded side. Embracing both of those is quite liberating.
yes, I love that. we're going more towards a balance for both sexes. Yeah,
Hmm.
where the male and the female energy are both allowed to be there, instead of where the male needs to be very male energy dominated and the
Yeah.
female needs to be very subservient
Yeah.
female energy dominant.
Yep. I was actually speaking to my husband about this yesterday, sidebar for the fun of it. We went to a winery. We met a girlfriend of mine. We're VIP. It just means you get a free glass of wine when you show up. Not a big deal. I buy the
Yeah.
bottles of wine anyway. It's okay. So we're there and we're sitting and he sees a car on the side of the road. So we're driving. He sees the car over here. It's from the 1950s. He's like, "Oh, isn't that amazing?" And I said, "Well, the car is great. Wouldn't you want to buy that?" And I said, "No, because there's nothing about the 1950s that resonates with me." "What do you mean?" And I was like, the 1950s was a very, very different place for us women, right?
Yes.
It must be the proper wife, right? Domesticated, cooking, cleaning, obeying your husband. And I said,
Very
"You know
children of,
me."
yeah.
"Oh, yeah." And I said, "You've known me for 30 years. Do I obey anybody?"
Mhm.
And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I kind of get it now." So, no, we're not buying that car.
No, I have always said I am not suitable to be the wife of a Dubai sheik or something, because I cannot walk 10 paces behind the man fully covered
No,
and be very obedient. That's just not who I
no.
am.
And to each their own, but it's not within my makeup. It's just
No,
not there. It's
no.
not there. So yeah, born and raised, first of four kids, highly independent.
Mhm.
And I always knew that I was different, just didn't understand what that was. So if we had people during that time of the late 70s and 80s who could communicate with us and say, it's okay if you don't feel like you're like everybody else, right? Or it's okay to be an empath, or it's okay to look at the stars and just be in absolute awe and realize that, you're bigger than this meat suit. We didn't have that growing up. So one of my drives with my initiatives under Ascending Dawn Doula is allowing for each of us to be exactly who we are at the
Mhm.
place that we are, because we all evolve. But for the
Yes.
empaths out there, teaching them about energy hygiene, letting them
Mhm.
know that you can't be absorbing everybody and their mother's energy and taking it home with you and then wondering why you feel so cruddy,
Yes.
right?
Or why you have all of these physical complaints or mental complaints, or
Yes.
all of it. Yeah.
Yes, and it's okay to be the caretaker. If you want to be the stay-at-home mom and have your 2.5 kids and do all that, that is fantastic. But at the same time, being the caretaker and knowing that there are boundaries and you have to provide self-care in order to provide the best care possible. So it's multifaceted, but yeah, growing up as an empath, like what is an empath? Nobody
Mhm.
ever taught us anything about that. And I was always quirky. I was never popular. I was that
Yeah. How do you
buck-toothed,
recognize that?
big-chested, adolescent. Even before I hit 11 years old, it was like, okay, well, hello. The universe wants me to have a upper body, and nobody did at that point.
Yeah,
So,
before I was 12, my mother already had to carry around her passport where I was also registered to
mhm.
prove that I was still under 12.
See,
Because under 12 you had a special train ticket, for instance, with a lot of discount. Because when
yeah,
I was 10, I already looked 18.
see, yep, yep. So then you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So I actually had, and I love this part of my story when I was looking back. And when you go through a spiritual awakening, you do start reviewing how you grew up and who you grew
Mhm.
up with and what you thought and how you felt and all the factors. And, what milestones and memories really stick out to you that were pivotal, right? So I go
Yes.
back to my third grade. My third grade, we had gone to a planetarium. My grandmother had worked with the school. She had worked at the place where the planetarium was. And in third grade, I literally, now my memory's horrible, but I remember this. I
Mhm.
remember sitting in the planetarium. I could tell you the row, I could tell you the seat, and we would look up to the sky, and I was in absolute awe that there was so much more, all of these stars and planets. And of course, they had music on at the same time. So that
Mhm.
increased my senses. And I'm a very heightened senses person. So music to me is
Yeah.
just like ah, and they made it just so magical.
Mhm.
But in that moment, I also realized that I couldn't speak to the folks that were next to me, the other third graders, because they would have no concept of what it is that I was trying to communicate.
Yes.
The fact that we are so much bigger than this physical body, and there's so much more than just going first grade and second grade and third grade and fourth grade. There's so much more. There's just so much more. So that was the type of person that I was. I was also a very, very mean older sibling, and I account for that now. I was the oldest of four, and I had a little Scorpio dark side of myself and kind of
Hmm.
run the muck, and I've apologized since then. But I mean, you grow up and you realize that you have all of these different unique qualities, but going
Hmm.
through that time frame, you don't think of them as unique. You think of them as,
No.
why am I so different? What is
Yeah.
wrong with me? Right?
Yes. Yes. I always, there was a big time of my life where I thought I'm broken. There's this.
Hmm.
There's. I need to fix myself. There's really something wrong with me because
Yeah.
nobody else seemed to think like me, act like me, have the same norms and values as me, and
Mhm.
I often didn't understand myself.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And so then you flash forward to when I was, 10, 11, and again, you're growing tall and you got the stretch marks on the back of your legs that are bright purple because you just shot up 3 feet, what seems like 3 feet over a summer time frame. And then you've got all
Yes.
these like awkward things that are happening with your body. You're, 12, 13, 14 years old, and it just doesn't make it any better. Because here you are
No.
thinking bigger, and now you have all this attention on you, unwanted attention.
Well, there were also great moments because I had something similar. So I think one year I was the smallest child in the class, and after summer I was the tallest girl in the class.
Mhm.
So in one summer I went from being the shortest to the tallest. So that part is similar. But I actually liked being the tallest for a change because it sucked being the shortest of the class. So there were also, good elements about it, but also lots of things that were
Mhm.
not great because yeah, you're the first that gets a training bra, or
Oh
the
yeah.
awkwardness in the changing rooms with Jim.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even do that. Nope. Well, I take that back. I did, but I didn't. I'd hide behind locker doors.
Hmm.
When the door opens up, you just kind of hide behind it and pretend you're not there and change real fast.
Yes, 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 yes.
Oh, it's wild. It's
Yeah,
wild. But
yes.
yeah, so as I grew, I realized that it's just this world is so much more than what meets the eye, but how can I fit in?
Yeah.
Right. And then it opens the door of why should I fit in? So you always kind of teeter with that because you kind of like being unique, but then you kind of don't like the isolation. And you had
Hmm.
mentioned the isolation before, and that's a hard thing. It's a really hard thing.
Yes.
I remember being in my bedroom and listening to Metallica, my Metallica tapes nonstop, or my Tori Amos tapes, or Green
Hmm.
Day. And then I throw in Bryan Adams for fun. So a very eclectic C music taste that I have. But
Yeah.
that and my art were all I really enjoyed because
Hmm.
that allowed me my freedom to be authentically myself and not have to have anybody's judgment. And my family
Hmm.
was wonderful, never judged me, super supportive. I was the bad girl. I was the
Hmm.
one that was projecting a lot of my uncomfortableness out and my empath out. Like I'm absorbing
Hmm.
everybody's energy. What in the world am I supposed to do with this?
Hmm.
Right? But no one
Yeah.
says, hey, it's not yours. You're not supposed to hold on to that. You're supposed to release it. And here's how.
For me, my family home was not happy, and my father
Mm,
started abusing me from the age of 7.
mm,
There was a lot of conflict between my mother and my father, and I was always, well, they tried to diagnose me with borderline personality disorder because one moment I could be joyfully, bubbly, happy, and the next moment I could be inconsolably sad, which
hmm.
they see as a one of the main characteristics of the borderline personality disorder. But I realized later in therapy it was my mother's sadness that I was feeling. Yeah,
Wow.
my mother's grief and my father's anger. So
Wow.
I was sponging everything without knowing that that was possible. I always thought if I'm feeling it, it's mine because I'm feeling it, and
Hmm.
that turns out not to be true. But then people would ask me, "Why are you crying?" I don't know, right? Why are you
Hmm.
angry? I don't know. There were so
Hmm.
many emotions that I had that I couldn't place, that I didn't know where they were coming from. And then they try to put you in that box.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Or just label you as a teenager. Oh, it's just teenage hormones.
Yes.
Yes, there is some science to that. Yes, there is some left brain logic to that, but there's a lot more than what meets the eye to it, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
wild. It's wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
so life has just evolved. It's amazing once you can go through childhood into adolescence into your 20s. You have your Saturn return in your late 20s when everything gets shucken up, right?
Hmm.
Relationships and jobs and your home life and what you thought was real leading up to 28, 29, 30, 31, then
Yes.
goes kaput, and then you become even bigger and better as a soul in this human body, and you reshape your entire world into your 30s and then your 40s, and maybe empty nesting mid 40s like I am. And then it's a whole other ball game. It's like, okay, well, we learned how to walk and talk and
Hmm.
eat and
Yeah.
write and graduate and get the job and climb the ladder and mend into society and give back to
Hmm.
society, but all the time wearing some sort of a mask, if that makes
Yes.
sense, and not
Yeah, that
having
makes
the
perfect
proper
sense.
toolkit to release some of that energy that's not yours.
Yes, I always said I had a version of myself for when I was with my friends. I had two versions
Hmm.
at work, one for with my boss and one for with my coworkers. I had a
Hmm.
version of me from when I was with my parents. I had a version of myself for when I was with the rest of the family. And those
Yeah.
are the masks, so versions of yourself that you create, usually because we want to fit in, because
Hmm.
we want people to like us, because you don't want certain things to be visible to certain
Hmm.
people, and then
Yeah.
you hide them or you embellish certain other things in work that you think your boss would appreciate. Now, all of
Hmm.
these kinds of reasons make that you create versions of yourself to deal
Hmm.
with specific situations or with different people, but none of these versions are actually you.
It's not 100%. No. And you have the
No.
protection mask as well, right? There are
Yes.
elements of protecting your vulnerability.
Hmm.
Like, for instance, your boss. You're not going to show him or her, your true, authentic, natural 100% self,
No.
because then, oh my gosh, are they going to like judge me for da ba da ba da, insert
Mhm.
here. So there's that vulnerability piece that a lot of us as humans naturally don't want to showcase to the world out of, prevention of anything harmful. It's
Yes.
the baseline of Maslow's hierarchy, two of the baselines of Maslow's hierarchy, right? Safety, security, protection, self-protection. And so we put
Yeah.
that mask on for that as well.
Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I would, like you said, there's this moment, usually late 20s, early 30s, where everything just blows up. And when you
Mm-hmm.
realize, oh God, this is just not working, and when you have zero clue on what else, how am I supposed to act? What else am I supposed to do? And that, I
Right.
think, is the start of your journey of self-discovery,
Oh yeah.
where you are forced to look in the mirror and see, okay, this is not working, and I need to find a way that works for me. And that goes with trial and error and falling down and getting yourself back up and learning a lot about yourself, healing
Mm-hmm.
if necessary. And so, not
Oh yeah.
everybody's story is the same. I had a lot of healing to do, but I also have a very difficult life path to
Mm-hmm.
follow, with a very big purpose, that had to get me ready for that purpose. But for a long time, I always thought, why does this shit always keep happening to me?
Yeah.
And it was usually not one shit, but multiple shits at the same time. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
can I not just have 1 week
Yeah.
of happiness? Is that
Yeah.
too much to ask? Just 1 week of no shit.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And did you ever notice when you were going through that you could identify different karmic cycles or certain reactions that you would always have? And then if you change the reaction, like if you have the same issue happening over and over and over again, and
Yes,
you
it's a
respond
pattern.
the same over and over and over and over again, that issue is going to keep coming up until you change how you respond. Did you ever pick up on that?
Yes, but that came when I started on the journey of self-discovery and I
Mhm.
came into contact with inner child work and shadow work, and especially
Yes.
when I dove into human design and the gene keys.
Mm-hmm.
Those opened up the whole can of worms, and then I discovered why my journey was the way it was, and the repeating patterns, and then you become wiser and more capable and more healed, and then you move into a different direction, and you stop
Yeah.
repeating certain patterns, and then new shit
Yeah.
replaces the old shit, and
Yeah.
because there are so many lessons to learn. But what I also see is you get better and better at it. You
Mm-hmm.
recognize it quicker. You think, oh my God, I recognize this feeling. I must be up leveling. There must
Mm-hmm.
be some testing going on to see if I'm ready for the next phase. And when you recognize that, then I can think, oh, okay, and then let it go. That's what I mean with you get better and better at it. The more you
You
grow,
do.
the more work you do.
Yeah. And you said the right phrase there too, the testing aspect of it. I don't think a lot of people, I do think a lot of people have the awareness, but I don't think a lot of people have that awareness until they start truly evolving, peeling back the layers of the onion, going through their spiritual awakening if they haven't already yet, and then noticing that as you are going through those cycles, once you think you've really mastered it, you're going to have a test.
Yes.
And it's up to you whether or not you pass it. I mean, you've been studying for it for over and over and over and over again. And if you
Mhm.
change your response in a different way, then yeah, you've aced it, ace plus, A plus, right? And the next time something like that comes in, you can just completely not even really respond. I've had so many
Yes.
different lessons where I'm just kind of like, you know what? That's not my battle. That's no longer my battle. I have battled it as much as I can. It's no longer mine to own, right?
Yes. Or you see, okay, I have run into this wall over and over and over again, and it's not getting me anywhere. So I choose to just walk away this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you practice any type of energy hygiene at all?
Yes, lots of that.
Beautiful.
And we also did a whole episode on energy hygiene. So if you're watching, if you're listening, and you want to know more about energy hygiene, just Google it or search for it on my channel. You will find it. It's cleansing yourself. It's keeping yourself in balance. It's also protecting your
Mhm.
energy. It's a combination of these things. Yes.
Perfect. I'm so glad that you have a video out there on that. The clients that I meet with, and again, like attracts like, right? I've been through a lot of different things, a lot of different cycles in my life, and when those clients come in to see me, I can actually see myself in them, which sounds a little weird, but we're all mirrors. Like you're a mirror of me, I'm a mirror of you. There are pieces of us that are very similar. And
Yes.
when I speak with my clients, most of them have never heard of energy hygiene. And I'm the
Correct.
first one to be like, okay, right here, right now, let's practice this. Let's do this. It's super
Yeah.
easy. If you are brushing your teeth every day, you should be practicing energy hygiene every day.
Yeah.
Period. And then
Yes.
I have some clients that do it like for a day or a two or three. I had one that actually texted me the other night and she's like, "Ah, I still have all of this stuff happening." And I'm like, have you been
Are you
practicing
doing
your
this?
energy
Are you
hygiene?
doing that? Yes.
And she said no. And I'm like, okay, okay. Why don't you please practice that? Because practice does make perfect, but then you need to notice it. Notice
Yes.
it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now and see how much lighter you
Mhm.
are as a soul.
What I also see happening a lot is that people then do practice it, and they have this, and then they think, okay, I need to practice it, and then they start practicing it, and they
Hmm.
practice it for a couple of weeks, and then everything seems to just be going right, and then
Hmm.
they forget again.
Yeah.
They stop
Yeah.
with the practice, and
Yep.
then a couple of weeks later, they come to me and they said, I was doing so well, and now all of this shit is back. Let me guess, you stopped practicing your energy hygiene.
Hmm.
Oh. Yeah.
Hmm.
So this is not, I only do it when shit hits the fan and I feel I'm drowning in my life until everything gets better.
No.
No, this is something that it's an everyday thing
Every day.
for
Before
the
you go
rest
to
of your life.
bed, before you go to dreamland, if you're especially if you're a dreamer, right? So
Yes.
I myself, a super dreamer, Pisces, Scorpio,
Mm,
Scorpio. I am in dreamland sleeping 9 hours a night. My husband's a little jealous about it. Sorry, that's just what I am right now, right? But
yeah.
before I go to bed, you best believe there's energy hygiene. And when I wake up again, there's energy
Yeah.
hygiene because I'm
Yeah.
getting all kinds of intuitive hits through my spirit guides, my angel team, my loved ones, my ancestors. And I want to make sure that Anything that does not need to be within my space is cleared out, right?
Yes, exactly.
Very
And the things
important.
you pick up during the day is very important that you let go of those.
Hmm.
There are so many techniques and things that I teach my clients for a variety of things because you need to be mindful of what you bring into your home. Energy wise, you need to be
Oh, yes.
mindful of what you bring into the bedroom. You need to be mindful of what you take with you when you go into your bed, when you go to sleep.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But again, we're not taught that. We're not taught that
No.
growing up when we're our quirky selves or going through teenage years or going through depression. I mean, I've been depressed several times in my life. I've gotten
Hmm.
very, very deep into depression, and I typically don't ever tell anybody. It's like
Hmm.
no one needs to know, right? It's the little isolation of a Pisces, Scorpio, Scorpio. But you realize once you've hit a certain space in that depression that it's time to get out of that zone.
Yes.
And let's get out of that zone as uncomfortable as it is. Let's
Mhm.
release energy that's not ours, number one. And number
Yes.
two, let's work through the cycles so we can climb out of that well.
Mm.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things growing up. It's crazy, but we're just not taught these tricks of the trade.
No, and
So,
that's one of my biggest problems with our school system because we are taught lots of
mm,
things that I think, when am I ever going to use this?
mm-hmm.
And the things that I would have loved to learn, like nonviolent communication, for instance, because
Yes.
so many things go wrong because people either do not communicate or
Mm-hmm.
do not communicate the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So that is saying, or what is empathy and what is my intuition and how do I work with these things? Energy
Mm-hmm.
hygiene, protecting yourself, all of these things I wish I would have learned in school, just like about empaths and high sensitive people and
Mm-hmm.
different types of energy, vibration, frequency, the whole shebang. But none of that is taught in
Mm-mm.
school.
No, but then here we are now, what, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years later, able to have the technology, even for like you and I to be here and talking about that.
Yes.
It's a huge step towards emotional intelligence, to emotional wellness, to
Mhm.
mental clarity, to spiritual awakenings and energy hygiene. There's so much involved. Even like angel numbers. You see angel numbers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you work with your clairs, like clairaudience or
Yeah.
clairvoyance or clairgustance, any of the clairs. We're not taught
Clairsentient.
those.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
not taught those, right? But then as we grow up and we're, so my dominant clair is clairaudience. But if I say, yeah, okay, so I heard, and then somebody be like, what do you mean you heard? Yeah, I have
Mhm.
a voice right here. What do you mean you have a voice? Off to the doctor you go, right? But now
Oh,
it's not that case. Let's really talk about no, we have spirit guides, creator, universe, call on whoever you want to call on that's actually guiding you, me,
yes.
in our own unique ways through these different senses. It's amazing.
Yes, that is one of the biggest problems I had as a child. I have a clear knowing, a
Yes.
knowing without
Yes.
knowing how I know, but I know, and it scared people. Yeah, I could
Mhm.
say, "Oh, don't worry, he'll come back," and they were like, "What are you? Who?" Right? And they were scared of it, and they
Mhm.
made me feel like it was not okay to know
Yeah.
things like this, and that led to me sort of renouncing a big part of myself,
Hmm.
separating myself from a big part of myself, and just not giving that any attention anymore, which also
Yeah.
meant that I wasn't myself because I had broken off a big piece of myself that I wasn't giving any energy, any attention, any love, anything.
And then you come back into a place where you start going through the peeling back the layer of the onions, right? And then going, well, I do have this skill. I
Hmm.
do have this gift. Let me pull that back in. Let me incorporate it more. Let me test it out. And I always
Yes.
use this example, like if you're used to going right to go home, like you've got it down packed to the nanosecond. You're going right to go home, but there's something within you that says go left, and you could see it or you can hear it, or you just know it, like you said, or you
Hmm.
can feel it, or even just the pit of your stomach, go left, go left, go left. Well, if
Yeah.
you don't go left, you might have to deal with a bunch of traffic on the right. Or you might miss that opportunity on the left, that opportunity that was created just for you to meet somebody new, to see the rainbow in the sky that fills you up in a moment of joy, to watch geese walking across the street and taking a pause of, this is nature, this is love, right? But using those skills, we're just, they're muted. They're muted when we grow up. And as adults, we're like,
Yeah.
well, no, I do kind of have that skill. I need to follow my intuition.
Yeah, I think as children we are born into this world perfectly and we have all of these skills and we intuitively use them and we don't think there's anything wrong with us or with the skills that we have. And it's school and adults that
Hmm.
make us walk away from a lot of these
Hmm.
gifts. And then later we sort of have to unearth them,
Yeah.
reawaken them,
Hmm.
reconnect with them, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so we have these natural gifts, and then we unlearn how to use them, and then we sort of have to relearn how to let them back in our lives.
Yeah. Do I trust it when I'm being told to go left?
Yes,
Just do it.
yes.
Just do it and see. Okay, so for instance, when I go to DC, everyone knows about Washington, DC, right? And so I live close enough where I can make a day and I can go to DC. And all I
Mhm,
do is I create two places that I want to go to in DC. All the rest of it is a flow state. All the rest of it is an intuitive state. So I'll go to
yes.
the first place. I'll do whatever I need to do. It's an art museum or maybe the tidal basin, right? And I'll walk around for a couple miles. And then I go wherever I'm guided to go. And I'm telling you,
Mm,
every single time I do this, and I've done this for 25 years now. My grandma started this years and years ago before she had passed, 25 years ago.
mm,
Um, it's an amazing state to be in. You have an
mhm,
agenda for two stops, and that's it. But you know you're going to spend the entire day in DC, and you just let spirits, ancestors, loved ones, creators guide you intuitively, whether ear or just knowing. It's magical. It's
mhm.
absolutely magical.
I do that also when I go walking in nature. I used to be scared of places I had never been before because I was
Mhm.
scared that I got
Mhm.
lost. And now I think, oh, let's see wherever we are taken. And then
Yes.
I just go and I walk, and I've learned to trust in my intuition and learned to trust in the
Mhm.
fact that I always get back to the car. I give exercises that help you build that trust, which is what I also did. But now I really enjoy it, and I think, oh, that looks interesting. Let's go there. Or even places where I've been before, and I think, oh, I don't know this road. Let's take it and see where
Yep.
we end up.
Yep.
It's nice. It's beyond nice. It's awesome.
Little adventures, right? It
Yes.
gets you out of that Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 3D reality grind,
Hmm.
climbing the ladders, right? At some point,
Yeah.
you got to get tired of climbing ladders. You
Yes.
just want to evolve spiritually. I'm
Exactly.
so happy that you do that too. That you're like, no, I'm going to go
Yes.
on an adventure. Yeah.
Exactly. And I had to learn that. Like I said, I was scared of it before,
Hmm.
and now I actually enjoy it. That I think, oh,
Hmm.
let's just see wherever we end up, and I can even time it, right? I think I have 3 hours or I have the rest of the day. But if I only have
Hmm.
3 hours, then I am back at the car within the 3 hours so that I can
Hmm.
still make the rest of my appointments. And I don't have to steer it, I don't have to check it. It just, it happens. And the more you learn to work with this magic, with this flow,
Yes.
with this intuition, the
Flow.
more you learn to trust in it, and the easier it gets to really let go and trust in it.
Hmm. Absolutely. Although I do have to applaud you because you mentioned that you'll be back in the place that you need to be
Mm.
within that certain amount of time. We have in my world what's called Jenny's world
Hmm.
because I'm never on time. I get totally like left field. Ooh, look at the blue jay or look at the crow. And I'll
I
talk
only
to the
have
blue jay or the cows. There were cows yesterday. I was like, "Hello, cow. How are you?"
I talk to the animals as well. I love that you're doing that too. Now
Yeah.
I can have those moments too, but those are on days where I know I don't have to be anywhere. Then I
You have some
completely let
freedom.
go of everything.
Yeah.
But when I know I have to be somewhere, then I also have it with waking up. I never set an alarm clock. This is one of my definitions of freedom, waking up without an alarm clock. But if I do have
Beautiful.
to be somewhere on time, I can tell myself, well, I need to wake up no later than 7. And then I wake
Hmm.
up no later than 7. I don't have to put an
Nice.
alarm clock. So there's something in the way of subconscious programming that
Yeah.
I can do. And then I said, in 3 hours, I need to be back here. And whatever we go in those 3 hours, you can decide.
I'm going to practice that. Thank you. I am going to practice that.
You're
I'll let
welcome.
you know how that turns out.
Yes, that would be interesting to know. I've loved our talk, Jenny. It's been amazing
Yes.
to share about these things and to reconnect or connect with someone with similar experiences. Because even within empaths or within highly sensitive people, not everybody is the same, and not everybody
Mhm.
has the same gifts or the same types of experiences. And so, if you are watching and if you're listening and you resonate with us, we would love to hear from you. So, tell us your story in the comments. And if you are watching and listening and you think, well, I don't resonate with all of what you're saying, but I have this type of experience, we would also love to hear about that. So, whatever you
Definitely.
want to share with us or with the rest of the people watching, that will be amazing because every experience that people share and that's being read by other people, you never know who it will touch and who it will help. So, that is always amazing. And I can also imagine that you think, oh, I feel drawn to Jenny's energy and I'd love to know more about her or maybe even work with her. So, if people want to know more about you or connect with you, Jenny, where can they find you?
Yeah, great question. Thank you so much. So I'm on all the socials as Ascending Dawn. So Ascending. Dawn as in the break of dawn, DAWN. But ascendingdawndoula.com is a great point to land on, and you can see all of my services there. I work on one-on-one. I do workshops as well, virtually and online, for those that are going through spiritual awakenings, or they're just interested in their birth chart and they don't want to get it wrong with ChatGPT. Ping
Ah,
me.
yeah.
We'll take care of that. Or past life regressions. Those are amazing.
I love that. And don't worry if you couldn't catch it that quickly. I will make sure that all the links and the ways to contact Jenny are included in the show notes, probably below this video. My links, of course, are also there. So if you feel drawn to me and my energy and you want to connect with me, then go to the description, the show notes of the video, and you will find everything that you need in order to connect with both of us. And yeah, for today, I think I just want to thank you for this wonderful conversation. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for allowing me to be my authentic self. It's been a pleasure speaking with you as well.
I love
We
that.
always have fun. We always have
Yeah,
fun.
we always have fun. And I also want to thank you, watcher, viewer out there, for being here, for supporting this channel. If you're new here, then it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to the channel, maybe hit the notification bell so that you will never miss another video again. And if you are a returning guest, then thank you so much for your support for this channel. I love that you're back here again, and I look forward to inspiring all of you with another wonderful guest in next week's episode. For today, I wish everybody an amazing rest of your day and I look forward to seeing you again soon.